Hey everybody, I'm Lee Williamson and I'm from Elemental Concept. Today we're going to be learning how to do custom particles in After Effects, and since it's snowing we might as well do falling snowflakes. So without further ado, let's dig in. Right, so let's teach you how to do custom particles. So I'm going to click on my library and I'm going to choose Snowflake, and I'm going to choose composition, and I'm going to delete that background layer inside Snowflake so we have just the snowflake itself. And then we're going to go file new solid. Now it doesn't matter what color the solid is because I'm going to be putting an effect on it. We're going to call it particle world, and we're going to drag that on there. Let's just call this layer particles. Now we can turn the eye off on the snowflake, and if we just press spacebar on a keyboard to see the preview, this is a preset it starts off with. To change that, we go into particle and we choose textured square, and then we go into texture and we choose the layer where the snowflake is, and now we should have the snowflake on there. You're not seeing that properly, so let's just drop in a new solid, put that white, and that will just be our background. Okay, now the other problem is the snowflake is not coming the right color. So the first colors that comes in with a birth color of yellow, means the color it starts off with, and death color, which is red. So if we just change these to white, now we have the color of the snowflake. The next thing we'll do is change our physics. So you can actually change the way the particles spurt out from the center. So I want to choose something called twirly. Now the reason I want twirly is because if I'm going to have a bit of a snowflakes falling, I want it to be a little bit more natural, as if it was actually falling from the sky. So I've pretty much used twirly so it's more spread out on the x-axis. And the next thing I want to do is add some resistance because this is going too fast. So if you put that to say 10, now the snowflake should fall nice and slow. Perfect, I'm over that. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to spread this out and bring these snowflakes a lot higher in the air. So I can go into my producer and I can move it up on the Y, and we take it right off the screen like that. Maybe not too far off the screen. Let's just put that at about minus 0.35. Okay, there we go. And then we want to spread it out a little bit further on the X. So on the X radius. So if I just drag this across, you can see it pulls them out nice and far. There we go. And then if we want to stretch these out nice and wide, we can go to our position. Oh, not that one. Okay, we pull our Y radius down. There we go, that's much better. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now we could make our particles a lot bigger by going into our birth size and death size. So imagine when the particle is born, first it has a specific size, and when it dies it has a specific size. So I could bring that up to, let's say, about 1, and maybe we have it born at 0. There we go. Now you're noticing they are fading off very fast, and that's because they're not living very long. So if you go into your birth rate, you can dial up this thing called longevity, and what happens is the particle doesn't fade off straight away. So I'm just going to drag that all the way up, And now it should just stay on the screen for longer before it fades out. And the other thing we want to do is we more than likely want to also put less particles on the screen, so I can actually just change my birth rate. Let's change it to 0.1 because I don't want as many particles to be coming up all the time. Maybe 0.5. No, okay, 0.3. 0.2. Okay, that's cool. Now the next thing we want to do is we want these particles to rotate. Now particular world doesn't have any option to make them rotate, so we can pre-comp our snowflake, snowflake rotate, and move all the attributes, go inside here, click on the layer, press R on the keyboard, move 10 frames forward. Nope, hold Alt on your stopwatch, because we're going to have an expression here. We're going to go time asterisk minus 100, so it's going to go anti-clockwise and it's going to play forever. And then we're going to go back in the snowflakes now, and our snowflakes should be rotating as they go down. Fantastic. And the next thing is you can also change the way they fall. So if we want a little bit of wind to be going either to the left or to the right, that can be done too. So we go into our particle world and we change our gravity on the X value. Let's see where that is. We go into our physics and gravity vector, and we go to X and we stick that on -1, and now it's going to fall to the left. Very cool. Now the other thing is we've only got one particle here and we want different kinds of particles, some more variety. So I'll show you how to do that. I have an extra snowflake created, snowflake 2. Let me go get that. Here's our snowflake. And I'm going to drop that snowflake in here. I'm going to pre-comp it, snowflake 2. Double click inside there, press R on the keyboard, Alt, stopwatch, click, time, asterisk -150. We want to rotate it at a different speed to the other one, so maybe it goes a little bit faster than the other snowflake, so that it does feel a little bit more individual. And all we have to do is turn the eye off there and duplicate that particle effect, and then go into particle world and just change the particle itself. So we're going to go snowflake 2. Now you notice currently it's going over the same particle as previously, the previous particle effect. So we go under extras and there should be something called random seed, and if you just change that to a different number, we should have different particles animated there. Now we've kind of doubled up on our particles, so maybe we can turn our birth rate back to 0.1 on both of them, so we don't have so many particles all generated. Now the next problem we have is, if you noticed in the beginning, it takes a bit of time before they animate on, and we want them to be on the screen straight away. So we can resolve this by clicking all 4 layers, Control Shift C, pre-comp, let's call it snowy loop, and we can right click it and we can go into time, enable time remapping, and now it's got the keyframe where it starts and the keyframe where it ends. So if we just drag it a little bit forward to where the particles are already animated on the screen, drop another keyframe there, delete that first one, and then we can just drag these keyframes up at the beginning. Now when we have our particles animating, they're already on the screen straight away. Now the next thing is let's just add some extra nice stuff into my animation. I created some nice trees. So let's get my trees in here. Let's just drag trees on there. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. Now these are really dark. As a colleague of mine mentioned when I first did this tutorial for him, unless you're living in London, snowflakes don't look like that. Only joking, London's not that dirty. Ironically enough, it actually is snowing today. So I click on that layer, press T on the keyboard and drop the opacity down. Just make it a little more subtle. And there we go. We have our custom particles. I hope you guys enjoy that. Thank you.